Well, you're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14.
Right now at 7, Pittsburgh State hosted a celebration this weekend with the renaming of its technology center.
Also, a local animal shelter is seeing an influx of animal drop-offs.
And we've got a bit of a chilly start across the area. It's going to be somewhat average today. We'll take a look at that forecast, get you out the door. Coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Well, good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Elise Noe.
And I'm Chris Warner, just after 7 o'clock on this Tuesday. I did it last week too. What?
Every day is Tuesday according to Chris Warner.
It's like Groundhog Day except Tuesday. It's Monday.
Oh, that's amazing. I cannot believe that stuck with you.
I don't even know how not even through the whole morning I've said Monday until now. Monday morning. Okay.
You're going to be so happy tomorrow.
Well, I think it was, we were discussing our ACT scores before the show started, and then Mrs. Overachiever over here had to sputter out and rattle off some numbers. And
only
I was
one number.
Yeah,
oh,
okay.
My gosh.
That's still, regardless, whatever. And then,
Yeah.
Speaking of numbers, though,
exactly.
Large number of animals getting dropped off places here.
The Golden Paw in Joplin has been experiencing an overwhelming influx of animals being dropped off.
KOAM's Melissa Alexis has more about how it's affecting this local pet rescue.
Our episodes this week, our problems this week were horrible.
Mary Ann Schlau, the owner of Golden Paw, had 18 dogs dumped at their facility in the span of 2 days.
Woke up and we had 9 dogs crammed in crates and cages sitting in front of our door. Okay. This was 5 o'clock in the morning.
And the following day, the same thing happened again.
And there's 9 more out there, stuffed in crates, tied to our railings.
So overwhelming. All of us are exhausted with this issue and sitting down realizing how big this issue is.
She says Joplin Humane Society is no longer accepting dogs due to overcapacity, which overwhelms them with figuring out where to put the dogs.
Now, I have to give credit to the director of Joplin Animal Control, but he spent his whole day trying to find a place for 7 dogs.
She says one of the causes of dogs being dumped is the expense of caring for a pet.
People don't have the money. The economy is no good. You can't feed an animal. You can't house an animal. Landlords throw them out of their buildings even when they've been there.
She says to prevent the amount of dogs that are left without a home, people should do their part to spay and neuter their animals. Reporting in Joplin, Melissa Alexis, KOAM News.
Now, the Joplin Humane Society says they're looking for community support through more foster homes, pet owners reclaiming their dogs, and adoptions to make space to help more animals in need.
And as she mentioned too, number one thing to help control any pet population isn't just a Bob Barker thing, but really have your pet spayed or neutered.
Absolutely.
That's what's going to lead to some of the issues. And she mentioned too, the economy's not as great as it used to be. It's not as things are a little tougher, a little harder to take care of pets. So before you take one on, plan ahead, do some budgeting, see what your budget looks like, and make sure it's something that you can take care of before you just bring it in.
Yes.
Well, we've got a pretty chilly start out there this morning. Let's start with a quick look outside from our camera in downtown Pittsburgh, looking back to the east along 4th Street. And we're looking good, but a little bit on the cool side this morning. 7th and Rangeline, our camera there. Also a nice view of that sunrise this morning, and eventually the sun itself will be starting to peek through these trees here. MoDOT camera, 20th and Rangeline in Joplin, looking good. Skies are clear across the board, and of course, also getting more daylight in from the KDOT camera, 69 and East 520th Avenue, just south of Pittsburgh. Future track for today, heading into this afternoon and evening. There's not a lot going on out there. Temperatures at or just a little above average today. And we'll have east winds around 5 to 10 miles an hour. Skies remaining clear. Again, chilly. Look at Joplin now, falling back down to 47 degrees. Earlier this morning, when we started at 5 a.m., it was about 53, 54. So come down a little bit. Same in Pittsburgh, down to 50 right now. And we do have some pretty cool temperatures out there. Look at Stockton. It's come back down to 43 now. So we've got low, mid, upper 40s and some low 50s out there. Low 50s are where we're supposed to be. So say Parson Parsons, Neodesha, for example, pretty close to normal for this time of year. Sunny skies as we head through the day. Again, east breeze 5 to 10. Temperatures mid-upper 70s out there, so close to normal, maybe just a little above. Tomorrow will be a little more above normal. By Wednesday, we're a lot more above normal. We'll go over those details and have the latest on Hurricane Milton here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, we'll see you soon, Chris. Well, 24 years after its construction was finished in 1997, the Kansas Technology Center at Pitt State now has a new name. On Saturday, the center was renamed to the Crossland Technology Center. Now, furthermore, the College of Technology that is housed within the center was renamed to the Crossland College of Technology. Now, the name change honors the partnership between Pitt State and Crossland Construction, the company who built the center. At the time, the center was the biggest project that Crossland Construction ever tackled.
Well, it's lived here, right, since the beginning of this building and even before then. So this was a natural evolution of our partnership and how to support financially the university, but how we also support students out into careers that are really going to make a difference. I have a little connection here.
Well, since its construction, thousands of students have utilized the technology and resources provided by the Crossland Technology Center. Well, car enthusiasts from all across the 4 states gathered in Pittsburgh over the weekend for the final Cars and Coffee event of the year. And the cruise season, which started on April 3rd, has had 3 car get-togethers this year. Over 15 cars were shown off, and get-togethers for the Cars and Coffee will start back up next spring. Well, the 56th annual Neosho Fall Festival took place in downtown Neosho this weekend with hundreds of community members in on all the fun. Craft vendors, food trucks, and street artists lined the square while people enjoyed live music and art contests.
I was told that this year we had 250 booths, which was an increase of 108. So that is definitely showing growth. That's worth it.
Activities were available for people of all ages, ranging from bounce houses to laser tag, and the festivities in downtown Neosho were available for the public to enjoy for free, with vendors starting to close up shop by 6 p.m. The Wyatt Earp Fall Festival took place in downtown Lamar on Saturday. Events began at 10 a.m. with dozens of vendors to choose from. Now, the festival contained a baby and animal contest, as well as Wild West reenactments of Wyatt Earp and the cowboys he hunted.
I think just the history, of Wyatt Earp. People come out here. We've got the reenactors, and they put on skits and shows, and just the community involvement coming together and celebrating our heritage.
The festival took place at the Wyatt Earp Park in Lamar, which finished construction in 2023. And those are our top news stories this half hour. Coming up next, just as cleanup is underway after Hurricane Helene, Florida is already in the sights of Hurricane Milton. We'll have those details on the preparation that's already underway. We'll be right back, but first, here's a live look from Pryor Creek Pumpkin Patch in Cherryville, Kansas. Well, topping Nation Watch this morning. A shortened strike at many U.S. ports could still lead to shipping delays on some products. Now, union members with the International Longshoremen Association ended their 3-day strike last week after reaching a tentative deal with the Maritime Alliance that needs to be ratified by January 15th. Now, as workers head back to the ports, some business experts say it will take 5 days of recovery for every day of the shutdown, while Everstream Analytics says ports will likely need 3 weeks to return to their normal operations. Well, seniors and others getting Social Security benefits may know this week how much those benefits will increase next year. The Social Security Administration is expected to announce the 2025 cost of living adjustments, often called COLA, increases this Thursday. About 70 million people are expected to get hikes in their Social Security checks. Now, according to the advocacy group Senior Citizens League, the increases are expected to be about 2.5% for next year. Well, military brains, brawn, and logistical skills are moving in to help with Hurricane Helene relief. help in western North Carolina. Soldiers from the 18th and 101st Airborne Division are now assisting in flood relief and humanitarian efforts and adding force and ingenuity to about 1,500 mobilized North Carolina National Guard personnel and FEMA crews and supplies already on the ground. Right now, the priorities are on getting emergency food, water, and health supplies out as fast as they can without jeopardizing their own safety. Well, as the long road to recovery presses on across the storm-battered southeast following Helene's destruction, the Sunshine State is bracing for yet another possible hurricane to make landfall later this week. Stanley Painter takes a closer look at the preparations.
It's a war zone.
Another round of devastation could overwhelm many communities already lying in ruin in the wake of Hurricane Helene. This as forecasters say Hurricane Milton strengthened Sunday in the Gulf and is creeping closer.
It's going to start picking up the pace there as it comes closer to Florida before it makes landfall, likely sometime on Wednesday afternoon.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis says it's too early to tell with 100% accuracy where Milton could impact. Forecasters looking at possible tracks suggest Milton could strike in the Tampa Bay region before moving across central Florida and making its way out into the Atlantic.
The path comes right over us, so I'm hoping it changes a little bit so we don't get all the rain, but we see what the constant rain can do. It just floods the area.
If you are not feeling comfortable, if your home is not safe to live in, it's good to find another place to go, whether it's with friends or a hotel.
Governor DeSantis on Sunday expanding a state of emergency declaration to include 51 counties.
I have water, I have canned goods, I have flashlights, I have pretty much everything else I need.
He's warning potential destruction from Milton could be amplified because of the vast amount of debris from Helene that's still lingering around many neighborhoods. DeSantis is calling for local contractors to quickly bolster removal.
Just sitting there is a hazard.
Forecasters say Milton could potentially reach Category 4 status, but weaken to a Category 3 before landfall. FEMA's administrator says the agency is already making preparations.
And that's a look at some of today's top national stories. Here's Chris with a look at your forecast.
Yeah, we're taking a quick look outside from our camera in downtown Pittsburgh. We are looking good. Skies are clear as the sun rises. Temperatures on the chilly side, though. We're having another look at your forecast and the latest on Hurricane Milton here in just a moment. And a little later, an Arizona restaurant is helping the homeless community by providing a free meal. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News, 7:17 now on this Monday morning. We're going to start once again with our future track here on the local level, and there's not a lot to see out there, unfortunately. We know how badly we need rain. There just isn't anything showing up. Today, though, a relatively normal day as temperatures hang out about average out there, and that'll lead to another cool night across the region. We also could have a few clouds here and there as we go overnight as well and into our Tuesday. Otherwise, again, tomorrow will be close to normal. We'll be a little warmer though, so a little above average, but not significantly so. And then, of course, we'll still have a cool night Tuesday night into Wednesday. And then we get into Wednesday, and we're going to start off a little bit cool. Even by Wednesday at noon, we may even be a little cooler at noon Wednesday than we're going to be today. But Wednesday is going to be the first of several warm days as we head into the weekend. As the winds begin to shift out of the south, our temperatures begin to climb across the region. And we're going to start seeing the 80s return. We've also got Hurricane Milton out there in the Gulf right now. It now winds up to 125 miles an hour. A strong Category 3 hurricane. At 130 miles an hour, Milton becomes a Category 4 storm. And that's what's expected here before too much longer as it continues to lift off to the northeast. Should become rather quickly a Category 4 storm and maintain that for a while. You can see peak winds, if it holds, at 150 miles an hour by 1 o'clock tomorrow. Then looking to make landfall as a strong Category 3 hurricane by the middle of this week. The path has it right between Tampa and Sarasota. But with the size and scope of this storm, Tampa, Sarasota, Fort Myers, a good portion of the west coast of the Florida Peninsula is what could be impacted by Milton. It'll then track east across the state and eventually out into the open waters of the Atlantic. We do have hurricane watches across a good portion of the west coast of the Florida Panhandle as well. That does include Tampa and Fort Myers. And then the Keys. And then just to the north of that, just southeast of Panama City, tropical storm watches, and wouldn't be surprised if a little later today or early tomorrow those get upgraded. On our level, though, again, nothing like that. We've got the sun gradually rising. It does look like a very nice sunrise out there. 47, though, feels like 45. We have a little bit of a wind chill. Not a big one, but a little bit of a wind chill out there, and we're below normal in Joplin. Low 50s is where we should be. We've got a mix of that, though. Look at Stockton sitting at 43 degrees. And you get outside of that, we've got mid-upper 40s and some low to mid-50s to start our Monday across the region. So, Ben, again, chilly to start, around 50, sunny skies, not bad by 11 o'clock, going into the upper 60s, highs into the mid to upper 70s across the region. Sunny skies will prevail, and we'll have easterly winds at about 5 to 10 miles an hour. Clear skies through the evening, upper 50s by 10, and eventually a few clouds overnight, falling back into the upper 40s and low 50s. Again, a little warmer for our Tuesday, upper 70s, low 80s. Warmer yet by Wednesday, low to mid 80s, and then we continue to go right back to where we have been into the upper 80s and low 90s heading into the weekend. And then almost like clockwork, third week in a row, a cold front comes through Sunday night into Monday. Unfortunately, at this time, no rain with it, but it will briefly drop our temperatures back to normal, mid-70s Monday. We're back to 80, though, by next Wednesday. Let's check your forecast. We're back with more of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
Well, one restaurant in Arizona is paying it forward, offering the local homeless population a warm meal and a sense of community.
Fox's Irene Snyder has more.
We definitely want to be always ready to help, and this is who we are, and we have to do this no matter how hard it gets.
The Loving Hut certainly lives up to its name. For years, they've been giving out free fried rice to those who are struggling, often with nowhere else to turn.
We've always given homeless guests fried rice, and then our customers heard about it, so the Pay It Forward came into fruition because they wanted to participate.
The way their Pay It Forward system works, customers can come in, get their own meal, and then purchase a separate meal to be eaten later on when someone who needs it stops by.
Instead of just fried rice, we could do anything on our menu, even they're adding like drinks to it, and we get probably about 2 to 3 Pay It Forwards a day. And they go really fast too because our homeless guests hear about it or people in need.
One of their regular customers is Aaron. He picks up one of the prepaid Pay It Forward meals every day. His goal someday is to go into business management.
It really helps me. It helps me spend more time at the library and read and study and help to build up my readiness for college and work.
While the food is great, for Aaron, stopping by the Love Hut means more to him than just getting a free meal.
What brings you back every day?
The people.
And the people there are always happy to know they're making a difference.
It really uplifts us every single time it happens, and it really gives us hope.
Well, definitely a special restaurant there, bringing the community together and helping people in need.
Yeah, it's great to see them helping because these days there are a few more folks that need a little pick-me-up.
Absolutely. Well, coming up, one area church took some time to bless local four-legged friends.
And the sunrise looks beautiful this morning. It is a bit on the cool side. We will have another look at your forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. It's currently 7:28. I'm Elise Snowy. The Baxter Springs Police Department, in conjunction with the Cherokee County Sheriff's Office, held a Back the Badge event Saturday. The annual event is to raise money for the reserve programs within the law enforcement agencies. And reserves do not receive any form of payment, and they are often asked to purchase their own equipment.
Seeing the community come out and support us and get a chance to visit with them and talk to them about many different subjects within the county, and it's a good time for the community to also meet the men and women of these reserve units that volunteer their time to help ensure their safety. The
money raised from the event was split evenly between the two programs. Well, the Joplin Regional Airport's Freedom of Flights Museum held their annual Wings and Wheels celebration. The car and plane show included over 100 cars and 15 planes, along with partnerships of the American Legion and Civil Air Patrol. Kids could also participate in some basic STEM activities like launching straw rockets, basic coding, making a hovercraft, and more. Well, Missouri Lieutenant Governor Mike Kehoe made an appearance in Southwest Missouri Friday. Kehoe, who is running for governor of the Show Me State, hosted a meet and greet event with supporters in Joplin at the Jasper County Republican headquarters. With the general election just under 30 days from now, the gubernatorial candidate stresses the importance of learning the details about what's on the ballot.
Encourage them to do the research. You can search on the internet information about any of the issues, our candidates that are on the ballot, and you'll find a lot of pros and cons on each of those issues. So I would encourage Missourians to do that. And then also, as I mentioned earlier, they might have friends that they trust with their opinion.
If you have any questions concerning the upcoming election, just head over to KOAMNewsNow.com/elections, where we've provided plenty of information. Well, the Pittsburgh Public Library celebrated an extraordinary career this weekend. Since 1992, Carol Ann Rupp, a lifelong Pittsburgh resident, has spent her career sharing a love of reading and books with patrons of the library. Now, with her talent for matching readers with books, Rupp has recommended tens of thousands of titles to community members. Since joining the library in 1992, Rupp has played a pivotal role in the library's expansion and has implemented countless programs, from book discussions to poetry readings and author visits, but most notably the Coffee and Carols holiday program.
People come in, we'd have Christmas treats, kids from story time would come in, we'd usually have a story, and then we would have a carol sing-along, and it was just a fun program, and it brought people of all ages together, and that's the one thing I really think I'm most proud of.
Now, the library recognized the decades worth of service Rob has provided before she officially turns the page on this chapter in her life. Now, here's Chris with a look at the forecast.
We've got a cool start to the day out there, taking a live look first from our camera downtown Pittsburgh. Look at that sunrise out there this morning. We've got clear skies, and it's not a bad start to the day, albeit a bit chilly. Might want a jacket out there this morning. All right, our camera 7th and Rangeline also looking pretty good. Let's head down south. MoDOT camera 20th and Rangeline. Again, a few more folks on the road as they get this Monday commute underway, and same from KDOT camera 69 and East 520th Avenue, just south of Pittsburgh. Our future track into the afternoon and evening hours. The skies are clear, the temperatures are close to normal, and the winds aren't too bad. Easterly at about 5 to 10 miles an hour. Now, we need rain. Unfortunately, today is not going to be a day that we see any. We got 47 in Joplin, 50 in Pittsburgh, and we've got some pretty chilly temperatures around the region this morning. 45 Stockton. Stockton's fallen back a couple of times into the low 40s this morning, so a pretty cool start. Otherwise, we're in the upper 40s to right around 50 degrees for most of us. So through today, we will eventually warm up. Sunny skies, mid to upper 70s for our highs, and again, those east winds at about 5 to 10 miles an hour. Now, tomorrow will be just a little warmer than today. Wednesday will be a lot warmer than today, and it will get hotter yet ahead of another cold front. We'll talk about all that, plus the latest on Hurricane Milton here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, Chris, thanks. Well, it's a good time to be a pet in Fort Scott, Kansas this weekend as the First Presbyterian Church blessed community pets. KOAM's Mitch Adams has the story.
It's important to take a moment to realize that animals are a gift that we've been given to care for and to appreciate and to love, and they give so much back.
The First Presbyterian Church blessed pets and their owners in Fort Scott. Each dog, cat, ferret, or goose was given a St. Francis medallion and blessed by the church's pastor. This Sunday after church, the animals were the star of the show.
It's really about them today, and just taking a moment to remind the adults, the humans in their lives, that they're a blessing.
Pet blessings lead back over 800 years to St. Francis of Assisi, the patron saint of ecology and animals. Many of the pets blessed were rescued from dumping or abuse, and this event was a way to show love to the pets that were saved from rough conditions.
You know, I think all of us are sensitive to the mistreatment that we often see you would be surprised at how many of us here today, some of the dogs that we have were just dumped.
The dumping Jane Campbell mentions has also affected local shelters and their ability to house animals. For those who may be considering adding a furry friend to your family, Campbell offers something to think about.
I mean, there's no law that says anybody has to have a pet. So if you don't think you're making a commitment basically for life, obviously, sometimes things just absolutely make it impossible, but basically for life, then you shouldn't have that animal.
All in all, the pet blessing is a way to pause and reflect on how fortunate these creatures and their humans really are. In Fort Scott, Mitch Adams, KOAM News.
Now, this is the first year that the church held a gathering like this under their current pastor, but they have plans to make this an annual tradition. And that's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. We'll hear how a Florida surfer is receiving praise for using his skills to help those affected by Hurricane Helene. We'll be right back, but first, here's a live look from the Pryor Creek Pumpkin Patch in Cherryville, Kansas. Well, in Consumer Watch this morning, the National Transportation Safety Board says it's investigating the emergency landing of a Frontier Airlines flight in Las Vegas over the weekend. A cell phone video showed flames and smoke shooting out from underneath the plane as it landed on the tarmac Saturday. A spokesperson for the airline said that the pilots detected smoke and declared an emergency. Frontier says all 190 passengers and crews were evacuated with no reports of injuries. Well, despite lukewarm reviews, Joaquin Phoenix's second turn as the title villain in Joker Folie à Deux earned enough to top the weekend box office with $40 million domestically, though that's much less than the first film brought in when it opened back in 2019. The Wild Robot was second with more than $18 million. And another sequel, Beetlejuice, took third with more than $10 million. And Krispy Kreme is asking who you gonna call. Starting today, the chain is marking the 40th anniversary of the iconic movie franchise Ghostbusters with 4 new donut flavors, honoring the film's most memorable characters like Slimer and the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. The chilling collaboration comes just in time for spooky season. Well, just over a week ago, Hurricane Helene slammed into Florida, destroying cities and towns along the Gulf Coast. The storm then raged northward and inflicted widespread devastation across 6 states, killing more than 200 people. Residents have likened the aftermath to a war zone. The devastation in North Carolina is also impacting an extremely important corner of the tech industry. Ivan Rodriguez has more.
On the outskirts of Spruce Pine, North Carolina, a town of less than 2,200 people, are 2 mines that produce the world's purest quartz.
These mines in this little town are responsible for 80 to 90% of the crucibles that are used by the semiconductor manufacturing industry to make silicon chips.
Because of the destruction and damage from Hurricane Helene, it could take weeks for the mines to be operational again, let alone rebuilding communities devastated by the storm so specialized employees can return to work. David Bader says this could lead to disruptions in the supply chain.
This will have an impact in our chips, and it could substantially add the delays to the processes, and that means delays in consumer products that use these chips, and also driving the cost to consumers higher.
During the last global chip shortage in 2021, caused by the pandemic, car manufacturers were building nearly complete cars, but without the chips to power critical features, they couldn't be shipped. Although some chip manufacturers may have several weeks' supply of high-purity quartz in order to continue production, a longer shutdown paints a grim picture.
Any disruption, such as this event from Hurricane Helene is causing, may have profound impacts for potentially months to come.
I'm Ivan Rodriguez reporting.
And those are our top consumer stories. Let's take a look at the market prices before the opening bell.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. We are about 8 seconds away from it being 7:44 on this Monday morning, and we are going to take a look first at our future track as we head through the afternoon today. We are clear, we are warm, but we are seasonably warm for the most part as we head into this afternoon. We go into the evening, clear skies initially. After midnight, a few stray clouds here or there, so it's what we call mostly clear skies, and that will be the case for us again on our Tuesday. So it'll be another chilly night tonight. However, by Tuesday, we do start to warm up just a little bit more than where we are going to be today. And then by Wednesday, we're going to be much warmer because the winds will begin to shift out of the south as we head into our Wednesday, and that will begin to usher in warmer temperatures. Now, this is what I love about weather, where it gets kind of interesting like this. By noon on Wednesday, we're actually looking to be cooler at noon Wednesday than we're going to be at noon today, even though Wednesday is going to be much warmer than we're expected to be today. But once those south winds kick in, those temperatures will quickly take off, and we're going to be cruising back into the low 80s by Wednesday. Then we also have Hurricane Milton down in the Gulf. So sitting at the latest advisory, latest data here, winds 125 miles an hour, 5 miles an hour and away from being a Category 4 hurricane. So right now a very strong Category 3 storm. It is expected to intensify to Category 4 strength a little later this morning or early afternoon, and it will continue as that as it approaches the Florida Peninsula. However, it's expected to weaken just a bit to a strong Category 3 hurricane just before making landfall just to the south of Tampa in the Tampa Bay area around Sarasota, and it'll continue to track northeast across the peninsula before it eventually heads out into open waters across the Atlantic. So, for those who are still recovering from Hurricane Helene, as we've done some stories this morning, they've got this knocking right on their back door. So we do have hurricane watches for a good portion of the west coast of the Florida Peninsula, and then just to the north and south of that, including the Keys, we have tropical storm watches that are in place right now, and those will very likely be upgraded as that track of Milton becomes a little more refined. For us, from our camera at 7th and Rangeline, skies are clear. It is cool, 47, and we do technically have a wind chill, 45, so you wouldn't really notice it, but it's a little cool out there. East-northeast breeze at about 5. Temperatures this morning, we've got mid to upper 40s and then settling into the low 50s. Low 50s are about average for this time of year, so we're at or just a little below that. And by the time we head into the afternoon, we'll be at or a little above that. Through the morning, chilly start about 50 by 8, upper 60s by 11 o'clock this morning with ample sunshine across the region. And again into the afternoon, mid upper 70s for our highs, so at or just a wee bit above normal out there. Clear skies continue into the evening. It'll be after midnight that we'll see the clouds increasing a bit. We'll go upper 50s by 10 and another cool one into the upper 40s and low 50s. So again, a little warmer tomorrow, upper 70s, low 80s. Warmer Wednesday, low 80s, mid 80s out there. And as we head into the weekend, unfortunately, temperatures going back into the upper 80s and low 90s. And then almost like clockwork for the third week in a row at almost the same time, a cold front Sunday night into Monday. No rain, unfortunately, but it'll kick our temperatures down at least briefly back to normal. That's a check of your forecast. We'll be back with more of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
Well, a surfer in Florida is being called a hero by many members of a community in Florida.
After he saved more than 10 people who were trapped inside their homes amidst the major floods left behind by Hurricane Helene throughout the southeast. Jordan Bowen has the story.
You're brave. Yeah. You're a brave lady. Definitely a brave lady.
Well, I had to be.
Ann McIntosh says she didn't know how she would escape when her home took on several feet of water. The door wouldn't open.
The beds were floating. The couch was floating. My brother and his wife were on the counters.
All three yelled for help. 2 blocks down the street, surfer Marty Thomas heard the screams. He threw his surfboard out the window and started paddling towards the sound.
I was walking around in the back unit just thinking, what am I going to do? And all of a sudden I hear a voice, and he's saying, we'll get you, we'll get you. And it was Marty.
Marty and his friend were able to pry the door open and get Ann, her brother, and his wife to safety, and they weren't the only ones.
You're the angel of the city, so.
For hours, Marty used his surfboard to rescue about a dozen people and their pets.
She had the St. Bernard, which is a heavy dog, so she couldn't lift the dog. So I just picked the dog up and threw it out the window. He jumped right on the paddleboard and was good.
Marty's friend on a second-floor balcony guided him using a flashlight, paddling toward any sound of people yelling for help.
He saved us. He got the door open. He paddled us across to safety. And just is an angel walking.
And is tough. She didn't even need my help. It was about this deep out here on her. She was carrying her stuff above her head.
And a 27-year resident of Indian Rocks Beach says before Hurricane Helene, it never flooded once. Regrettably, she says she stayed, something she says she knows she'll never do again.
I never flood. Well, I flooded, and I've learned a good lesson thanks to my angel here. I have the choice next time I will evacuate.
And says she will be forever grateful for Marty.
I think he's an angel walking. He is the hero of Indian Rocks Beach.
No, thank you,
and
Ann.
you do
Thank
it
you.
so gracefully.
Thank you.
And I love you for it.
No problem.
And you deserve all the good things in life.
No, thank you. I appreciate that. You're pretty awesome yourself.
Certainly an impressive story down there. A lot of devastation, destruction. Unfortunately, they could be facing more of that as we head toward the middle of this week. I hear on our level, though, we're not facing anything. We need rain, not to that extent, mind you, but we do need rain across the area, and we just don't have any. Another quick look at the future track for you. We'll show you heading into this afternoon. We are looking at winds east at about 5 to 10 miles an hour and temperatures at or just a couple of degrees above normal. Overnight tonight, another chilly one out there, and just a few clouds passing overhead as we head into the overnight hours, say after midnight. Our Tuesday, mostly clear skies again. Temperatures a pinch warmer than today, but not significantly so. It'll be Wednesday that will actually really start to heat back up again. This is the third week in a row that we've had a very similar setup where a cold front has come through at the beginning of the week or close to and knocked us to average before things start to heat back up again out there. I lost my mind. There we are. Okay, that is a quick check of that forecast. My goodness, it is Monday for sure. We will have another look at your forecast, what we're expecting today and for the week ahead, as well as the news you need to know right after this.
Well, here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. On Saturday, the Kansas Technology Center at Pitt State was renamed to the Crossland Technology Center. Now, the name change honors the partnership between Pitt State and Crossland Construction, the company that built the center. Well, since its construction, thousands of students have utilized the technology and resources provided by the Crossland Technology Center. Missouri Lieutenant Governor Mike Kehoe made an appearance in Joplin on Friday. Kehoe, who is running for governor of Missouri, hosted a meet and greet event with supporters in Joplin at the Jasper County Republican headquarters. With the general election under 30 days away, he stressed the importance of learning the details about what's on the ballot. And the Baxter Springs Police Department and the Cherokee County Sheriff's Office held a Back the Badge event Saturday. The annual event is to raise money for the reserve programs within the law enforcement agencies. Now, reserves don't receive any form of payment, and they are often asked to purchase their equipment.
And we've got ourselves a relatively average day, mid-upper 70s, sunny skies, east winds at around 5 to 10 miles an hour. As we head into the evening, still clear, upper 50s by 10, overnight lows chilly, upper 40s, low 50s, and just a few clouds here and there. A few clouds for our Tuesday, a little warmer, upper 70s, some low 80s, much warmer by Wednesday, low to mid 80s, and we continue to heat up, upper 80s, low 90s into the weekend. And then another cold front comes through Sunday night, cools us down pretty good, but it is brief once again. We'll be back to 80 by next Wednesday.
Alrighty. Well, the 52nd Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta kicked off in Albuquerque, New Mexico on Saturday, with balloons of staggering sizes and shapes dotting the skies in a colorful early morning spectacle known as Mass Ascension.
The massive balloons lay flattened on the grounds of the Balloon Fiesta Park until lunchtime when they were inflated to full size, seemingly obscuring the horizon as they rose from the ground and into the air. More than 500 balloons were expected to be a part of this 9-day festival.
Wow.
That's a lot of hot air balloons, and look at them go there, just one at a time.
So fun, so cool.
It is very cool. And of course, the Columbus Day is coming up, and the Balloon Regatta down there this Friday. We'll be there live, and so if you didn't make it to Albuquerque for any reason, you can just drive right down the road to Columbus and see some as well. Well, thank you all so much for letting us put the good into your morning. We'll be back with more news and weather at noon.
Have a great rest of your morning.